It was a wet and murky Nürburgring that greeted us for race 2 of the weekend, round 3 of the ADAC GT4 at the Nürburgring. Leo Pichler earning pole position, and it was a safety car start. The Wimmerwerk Porsche leading into turn 1, but Mike David Ortmann in the Aston Martin, the Pro Sport racing car, challenging into that first corner. It was Leo Pichler who went deep into the corner, but keep an eye on Simon Prim. He was making progress from the back in the CV Performance Mercedes. Still, Leo Pichler held on to that lead, but finally Mike David Ortmann pulls alongside. A brave move around the outside of the corner. In the Aston Martin, they run side by side before Mike David Ortmann eventually finds a route past, and Simon Prim following in his wake. In the background was Finn Zulauf, also in a Porsche, and he was tracking the lead 3 cars. Safety car came out 8 minutes in. This time it was for Emil Yedrum in the BWT Mucker Mercedes, getting it all wrong. That car has been in the wars all weekend. Lots of damage to the Mercedes. He's able to reverse out, but his weekend is over. Pit window is open, and in came Mike David Ortmann. His co-driver Hugo Sasser getting ready to take over the controls. He helps Mike David Ortmann out of the car. Mike David Ortmann hurls his seat insert back into the garage, then helps his friend and his co-driver to get buckled in. Also into the pits, but a lap later, it is Leo Pichler handing over to Max Wimmer. They waited for that extra lap, and it gave them the advantage. Max Wimmer rejoining ahead of Hugo Sasser as the race entered its second half. In third place was Jan-Philipp Springhob, who'd taken over from Simon Prim in the CV Performance Mercedes, and now it was game on. Hugo Sasser alongside Springhob, fighting for position. Springhob is through, now heading after Max Wimmer, our race leader. The tricky conditions, meaning the drivers are having to use every ounce of skill that they've got, sliding the back end around the corner, but now Springhob makes his challenge for the lead. In the background was Hugo Sasser, also trying to follow through. So Max Wimmer, having led the way, suddenly looking at third place, but Hugo Sasser's not done yet. He looks to the inside of Springhob. Around the final turn they come, with still 13.5 minutes remaining of this race. It is Jan-Philipp Springhob who led the race. Hugo Sasser following in his wake. Now Max Wimmer falling back into the clutches of Daniel Gregor. He's taken over from Finn Zulauf. Finn Zulauf and Daniel Gregor, a great partnership with Gregor finding a route past, but it's the route for the lead that Springhob has to surrender, because Hugo Sasser finally finds a gap on the inside heading into turn 1. The Aston Martin versus the Mercedes, but still Springhob was coming back on Sasser. Side by side they ran for lap after lap until finally Hugo Sasser was able to shut the door and get the Pro Sport Aston Martin to the front of the field. Hugo Sasser, along with Mike David Ortmann, using all of the chicane and a little bit more, bumping over the curbs, getting airborne, and now Daniel Gregor was challenging Jan-Philipp Springhob for second place, so the Mercedes not enjoying the pace in the second half of the race. And Daniel Gregor sweeps through into second place in the W&S Motorsport Porsche. So up the front, it was Hugo Sasser from Daniel Gregor and Jan-Philipp Springhob. Hugo Sasser coming out of the final corner to start his final lap, and then to receive the checkered flag along with Mike David Ortmann. A brilliant drive in such challenging conditions, and it's a drive that moves them to the top of the standings, 9 points clear of Simon Prim and Jan-Philipp Springhob, with the leaders coming into this weekend, Dennis Bulatov and Marcel Lanez, falling back to third place, although only 12 points adrift. Now the attention turns to the second half of the season, round 4 at the Lausitz Ring. In 2 weeks' time, it will be races 7 and 8 in the ADAC GT4 Germany.